station.
What's up, everybody? My name is Brent, aka BrentMatic, from BlaKc, Kansas. Been dancing for a long time. Just saying hello to everybody. You know, back since the BAM Squad days, all the way through the Rhythm Kings to now. Just been getting down here in Kansas City and the Midwest, actually all over the country. Honestly, I've been just sharing this dance thing with everybody. For me, as far as like from historical, because a lot of people don't know. I mean, people that are my age and a little bit younger, they know from like the club days. We're talking like in 97, 98, 99. They know about Roadhouse Rubies. They know about Guitars and Cadillacs. They know about Orlando's. They know about Pogos. They know about the skating rinks. They know about that. But there was time before that. You know, especially for people my age and kids that were growing up. When I was growing up, a lot of our stuff came from at school and from watching the music videos. We had Rap City, we had Yo MTV Raps, obviously pre-internet. So you just had these flashes of hip-hop dancers on the screen, which later on you come to find out that they're doing the BlaKc, they're doing the prep, they're doing, you know, with actual names and foundations of these dances. But that, you know, from a young age, from like 12, 13, 14, if it wasn't at the family reunion, you know, it wasn't at school, you know, it was music videos. We're learning, we're just watching what's on TV and just trying to pull from that. And that was basically, I mean, you're talking 88, 89, 90, 91. I mean, even when I'm a young kid, I still have those Rap City episodes and Yo MTV Raps on VHS that's recorded. So I mean, as far as my beginnings of getting into the, you know, popping game, locking game, even the b-boy game for a while, it all stemmed from hip hop and funk music when I was a kid. As far as the scene was, mid to late 90s, you're talking 97 when we first started going out and hitting the clubs. We obviously was a teen night, but the teen night was jam-packed. I mean, we're talking when you're going to Pogos, Roadhouse Rubies, at that time it's called Guitars and Cadillacs, there's lines around the outside of the building of people waiting to get in, and it's all documented. I mean, we have stuff, we have pictures, we have VHS recordings of, and that's how long ago it was, of pulling up to the club and there's just a line of people outside waiting to get in. I kind of break it down by summers. That first summer of 97, it was all about club dances and just being in the club, dancing, you know, one, two people at the same time doing the same thing, up to like 5 and 6 people all doing the same thing. It was pretty much hip hop dancing, is what we called it at the time, to songs that were out as far as like 97. So if you can think back to those days, that's what we were doing. So then you fast forward to the next summer of 98. That's when, as far as forming the crew, really started to fall into pieces. I came up with the name BAM Squad while I was sitting in my dorm room at college, and even the crew name. The BAM stood for Breakers and MCs, and Squad stood for Soon Known Worldwide as Dancers. That's why the W had the little square next to it when we wrote it out. But we didn't, you know, we just came up with a little thing to tell people. We didn't tell people what it meant until, you know, they were in. You know, like I said, CeCe Brown, Britt, Justin, Nate Van Hecky, Ian, and James Flames. And the reason I wanted to bring up James is because he still to this day puts it down. He's up in Minnesota. He's got a crew, and people like him, myself, Suge, Alfredo. You know, we're getting up there in age now, but those are the ones that are still from those times. You know, 97, 98, 99, 2000, that are still active in their respective scenes. I did find a relic from those old days. If you can see this, but these were some shirts that we had for some shows that we did. I do believe we used these in 2001. So, like I said, it's almost 2014 now. So you can see how long ago that was. And I did say that we were the band squad, and it stood for breakers and MCs, and it's soon known worldwide as dancers. And the W has the little square because it was two. And then on the back, it had, everybody had their own one with their name. Now back then I had a different name. I was known as Steady B, which was, you know, that's like a straight hip hop name. So that was back then. It's not the way that it's done now, where it's only a b-boy against b-boy, only popping against popping when you go to a competition. It was just straight, no rules, club style battle with, I mean, if it kept going for 20 songs, it just kept going, and you battled like you had a personal problem with that person. I mean, it just stemmed from there. And it was, and like I tell people, that people don't remember that club, Roadhouse Rubies in Orlando, or Roadhouse Rubies, was pretty much the #1 club in Kansas City for 5 years straight. So that place used to hold like 2,000-3,000 people, and you're talking a line to get in outside. So it was full on audience watching. People were going crazy. We would not only dance, you know, in battle, but we would also dance and get the club hype and jumping. We would go out for the club and recruit people to come. Believe it or not, the owner of the club, he had a deal with us where we would bring new faces. They would let us in for free. We would get to skip the line. So a lot of times there'd be a huge line of people outside, and all 5 of us would just walk right past the line and go straight in. It was fun times. I mean, it was a lot different than it is now, because at first when we were in there, they used to try to kick us out for dancing, or there'd be a circle going and the security would rush in and the security would stop the circle. But the more we kept going and the more we kept bringing people back, eventually we were kind of like an attraction, or like a feature. They would play certain songs and everyone would clear out. We would come out. We would dance on a stage. They had a stage up there. We would host little competitions up there. It was just a different vibe as far as the way it is now, because we had somewhere to go. We actually had a place that we could go, a club where we could actually go dance, and that's what we did. 2001, 2003, I moved back up to Kansas City. I reconnected with Suge and Mickey, who had been dancing throughout this time, and unbeknownst to me, they had actually gone out to B-Boy Summit out in LA, and they had also ran into some other dancers that were here from Kansas City that were a little bit younger than myself, which they introduced me to them, and we all started practicing together. And that's when I realized, okay, it's time for me to really, really, really learn the foundation and structure of these dances that I do. So that's when I met Josh, that's when I met Jigs, that's when I met El Boogie, that's when I met Pat, that's when I met Romy, that's when I met Vincent at the time, who was dancing. And we would go practice either up at a school. There was a school we used to go to, or we would go practice at Josh's house. And I had to basically learn the dance over 360, 180 degrees. You're dancing in a circle, so you have to learn how to move a certain way for this dance. And I basically started over fresh, like I'd never danced a day in my life, and just went from there. So then you fast forward, now this is 2004, 2005, and now we formed our own crew, a crew called the Rhythm Kings. So we were in Kansas City popping, traveling, going to contests, and basically also the same thing though. We were friends too. So it wasn't just like, oh, there's my crewmate, I'm gonna see him in 3 months. You're seeing these people every day, 5 times a week, 6 times a week. You're going to the movies, you're going out to eat, you're kicking it. It's not just, oh, that's my crew, oh, we dance and that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much up until about 2005, 2006. As far as 2013 versus 1997, 98, 99, it's a big difference in Kansas City. And again, all these topics are basically for Kansas City. And it's also a big difference between like halfway through, like even 2006, 2005 is different than it is now. Back then, like I said, 97, 98, 99, 2000, we had one specific place that we would go to, but beyond that, anywhere you tried to go, they're shutting it down. You're getting kicked out. Now we have places we can go to where they play music. There's jams. You can go to events here in the city. You can travel. You can go to Iowa. You can go to Arkansas. You can go to St. Louis. You can go to Omaha. Just about every other month, and there's a competition there. There's a jam. So it's an outlet for all the practice that you put in. When it was 2006, 2007, 2008, we could go to the Voodoo Lounge. You could go out to Lawrence. Occasionally, they had places there that we could go. But you know, if you weren't up to dress code, if you weren't dressed a certain way, if you had a hat, if you had things that didn't meet the club standards, you couldn't always get in. We also danced at the MAP, which people know in Westport. It is a little bit hot out there, but you know, sometimes we would go out there and dance. But overall, the difference in the scene now versus, I'll even give it up to like 2004, 2005. Kansas City itself has more talented dancers now than it did then. But back then, we were all connected to each other. We all we were in competition, but we weren't in competition with each other. We were still trying to make sure that the dance was accepted and that we were able to go places and get down. Now the scene is kind of segmented out where we don't really have these big practice sessions. We don't really have I mean, we have the support, but we don't have the support at the same time. We have jams we can go to. We have places that we can go get down, but the overall support for each other. This is, I mean, again, this is just how I feel. It's not probably where it should be, and that's the only thing that's going to keep the scene that we have here going. We could look up 5 years and there won't be a scene, because the kids who are young now, they're not going to be young then. And myself, I mean, we're talking 5 years from now, 40, 41, 42, some of us will be up there. Just have to ask yourself, you know, how much time and energy and effort do we want to put into keeping Kansas City with a scene? Just certain topics, as you know, that involve hip hop. In the end, when I say that, I'm talking about the scene specifically here in Kansas City. We have a solid amount of dancers here: b-boys, poppers, loppers, house dancers, crumpers. We have talent in those areas, and we are actually viable on our own. We can throw our own events, our own jams, and get people to come and have fun and come from out of town. But it seems like the connection that we have with the other element, which I'm touching on today, would be like MCs in Kansas City. there's like a divide there. It seems, I mean, I see posts on Facebook, stuff like that, where MCs are wanting the b-boys and dancers to come to their events and show love. But the situation you run into is when you go there, they don't have any music or anything for you. They have the songs, whatever, the music, whatever it is that they're doing, it doesn't go with what we're doing. And you almost have to be within the scene to understand what I'm saying. They'll want you to go to their event and support it. So pay money to get in, then you don't get one song. Then the songs are clearly not something that a b-boy is gonna feel, and you just don't feel it. And we have talented MCs in Kansas City. We have talented producers in Kansas City that could, you know, bring back a hip hop vibe for everybody to come together and get down, which is what I want to see. I don't really want to see a big segmented Kansas City where you go to the Foundry to see b-boys, you go to the Record Bar to hear MCs. I think we should start coming back together. Also, the amount of crews is just slowly disappearing. We used to have Boogie Monsters, Bugging Out. Before that, Dirty Q Tips. You know, we had crews of people that would come out and represent. And as those core crews, Rhythm Kings, you know, as we've gotten older, there's no one coming up to take the torch. We need to do a better job of going out and recruiting younger dancers. They're not gonna. This is proven. They're not gonna come to us. We're gonna have to go to them. We're gonna have to go to the places that they go, where they dance, where they meet up, where they get down, and we're gonna have to show them and teach them that the scene is here. The scene has existed before you. Hopefully, it'll exist after you. But we need to get them in the scene, or there won't be a scene. Also, I want to shout out the Kansas City scene, everybody who gets down, everybody who supports, Joshy G, Suge Easy, Fredo, J-Rex, Adonis, all the Boogie Monsters, Kevin, Monkey, Dat, Wolf, everybody out there, just keep getting down, have fun, continue to progress. Let's do it. Shout out to DK, shout out to Feed, shout out to J Wiz, shout out to FX, shout out to Leo, shout out to Tiptoe, shout out to DK, shout out to Feed. I'll shout out everybody again. Shout out to myself, and shout out to you for watching this. Thank you. Flawless victory, your niggas can't do shit to me physically, lyrically.